How's it, guys? It's Dark Soul Ryusei. Now, this is actually going to be post-commentary, and let me tell you why. In my haste for getting episode 8 ready, which is, it's going to be big, at least big for me, in my development, I went ahead and I accidentally deleted the footage. Not the audio, but the footage for episode 7. So, yeah, really sorry about that, Eric, but, that happened. What it is that I don't have a lot of memory on my laptop when I was moving it over to the external hard drive. I went ahead and I removed the residual takes, and I accidentally got rid of episode 7's footage. So here's a redo of episode 7. Now, what I actually ended up happening is that as we do this weight puzzle here, I had to start the game over again, which really isn't a problem. I just sped ran all the way up to this point. It only took me like just over an hour and a half. And I got back to this point. So a lot of what you're going to see isn't at all the same, so do not hold any data or any weapons, any bolts, etc., in connection with any of the other parts, because they just aren't true. We actually, you'll notice, maybe you have or haven't, that I don't even have the blitz gun. But over here we have the introduction of pink nanotech, which actually restores 4 as opposed to the blue, which restores 1. I had taken 2 damage, so I already filled my health right there. As you can see, I already did this part as well. There's this little... anytime you complete a mission, you get this teleporter back to your ship. But what you're supposed to get here is another key item. This isn't like one of the gadgets. This is more like another group of gadgets that we're going to get. I call them key items. They're like for vets. This one is the glider, and so we have to hand glide through specific routes, I guess you could say. Now, as you might be wondering, yes, if you so much as tap anything, you go down, then you have to start the whole route all over again. So I have to be really careful here in just navigating. This first one, this introductory obstacle, isn't all that difficult. It's just very, move right, move left. And right here at this point, the end, you get a platinum bolt, which you'll see me jumping up and down for. And speaking of platinum bolts, we probably should be getting to what they are for. And the desert is one of 3 places you can go to exchange them. So what you do is you go over here in the middle of the desert, you find this out here. This random button, that's a button up there, and this is what happens.
Put it in the slot. The weapon you want modified. Put it in the slot.
Oh, I get it. You make weapon modifications.
Yep. I can take your puny little weapon, and with a few, tweaks, I can turn it into a powerful piece of equipment. Look, you want me to hook you up or what? I can't hang around here all day.
And so Slim Cognito apparently does weapon modifications. Now, I'm not going to do it here because, again, this isn't the file we're using. I went ahead and I get the shock mod for the mini turret, the heavy lancer, and I get the acid mod for the blitz gun, which you don't have on this file because I had to just come back to this point and show what happens. The shock mods, what they do is that whenever you hit an opponent, it does more shock damage to all surrounding enemies that you hit, which is very useful in crowded enemy situations. The acid mod is really good for wearing down any enemies who have a lot of health, a lot like these individual big monsters that we're going to see out here in the desert. Now, I had actually recorded and gone over episode 8, which means I've dealt with the desert, but I'm going to go ahead and reiterate, or at least it's going to sound like it to me, what is going out here. In the desert, we have these pink crystals that we need to collect from the last time with Eric. We have to get 10 to the... I don't know what his name is. I'm gonna go look that up. It's the hippie dude, that this Chad is Chad stuff. So we have to go ahead and you have to collect 10 of these crystals. Now, I knew I threw up the map in certain situations. We're gonna be doing the center area. Now, you see these bits of rubble on the ground here? They hold a new denomination of enemy, these giant monster enemies. In later Ratchet and Clank games, they're called, I believe they're called Leviathans. They're effectively early versions of them. They have these just big monsters, and now here, instead of getting a Leviathan Soul like you would in future games, you get another crystal. These guys naturally take a lot of health, which is why I use the Vaporizer, which knocks off a ton. You can pretty much treat them as living tanks. But that means that any other crystals that need to be collected are actually in these guys, so you have to beat them up as well. There's 100 crystals total. We have to get 10 for the hippie guy. And then we have to get the rest. But the rest we can get in exchange for bolts. And that's what we're going to do next part. Now, these sections may seem like a waste of time for anybody who's just in it for the story, who's playing like Ratchet and Clank 1. But it is very advised, highly advised, to go ahead and take the time to take on the desert. Now, you don't have to beat up every single enemy. But you definitely want to go ahead and naturally collecting all the crystals. You have to take out these Leviathans. I'm just going to go ahead and call them that. So you can get all the crystals. And as you defeat all these enemies in a relatively nice confined space, sort of like an arena or a gauntlet sort of area, which is why I really like these areas. Yeah, there's the map, and we're just getting them in this small little area. That's all you're ever going to need. The rest of the area we're going to go ahead and take on in Part 8, which, again, I'm very proud of, and I really hope you guys enjoyed. And so, by the way, since I'm post-commentating this after putting that together... oh, wait, hold on. Let's get him the crystals, and let's get our shit back together.
Yes. The crystals are speaking to me with a single voice.
That was pretty impressive.
Bring me more crystals, and I'll pay you cold hard bolts.
Huh?
You can earn vast amounts of bolts by exploring the desert and
And so, that is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and we're going to come back here, and you get about 1,000 bolts per crystal. And so that's what we're going to do. Now, the audio went a little off sync. Not the audio, the video went a little off sync for me, so hopefully that's not the case. Or hopefully I've fixed that. If not, I guess I'm doing this commentary again, which is no problem.
Hey, see if you can find anything worth watching.
Welcome back to Behind the Hero. In yet another setback for the embattled Captain Quark, the Galactic Court ordered him to pay 6 billion bolts in damages to citizens suffering from personal hygienator syndrome. Only 2 days later, Quark was arrested trying to flee to Poketaru. The one-time hero, now full-time Zero, was placed in custody awaiting trial. But the next day it was discovered that he had escaped, flushing himself to freedom. We will return to Behind the Hero after these messages.
What a nut! I almost miss that guy sometimes. Almost.
Yes, Captain Quark, speaking of whom we really should kind of talk about a little bit more. He's an interesting character to definitely look under, especially in the Ratchet and Clank series. Now, in the first game, as you might have been able to tell from the Behind the Hero series, little part here, is that Quark was this big to-do superhero, very famous, but he was all talk and absolutely no substance. If anything, he was doing, double dealing and just like taking any opportunity he could. So the villain of the first game, Chairman Drek, he actually teamed up with and made a deal with him, but he was revealed by Ratchet and Clank, which is funny because you didn't know this because I haven't done the first game, but Ratchet used to idolize Quark and wanted to be kind of like him. So it's funny how at the end of the rest of the game he ended up taking his place as being a real hero for the Solaris Galaxy, which is where Ratchet and Clank came from. Right now we're in the Bogue Galaxy. But I digress. Going on here, we're going to take this first route to get rid of this annoying segment here. Now you're going to notice this jump. I just want to show how ridiculous it was. I got slingshotted over with that hookshot location. I ended up dying. It was really... it was so aggravating. So what I'm going to do for this part is, in order to just get through this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to buy... We can now buy armor in these armor vendors. I'm going to go ahead and buy it now just so I can take more damage, but in our file we don't have any armor, so just know that right now. We get a nice blue armor. It kind of reduces all the damage that we could take by these guys by half, so any damage that we would have taken by even these small like red mousers, which would have been 2, is now 1. I think one of it hits me right now. Yeah, see? It only take 1 damage now. So that's the reason for the jump cut. Just rushing through here, trying to get to the major aspect. There's really no need for me to take on these guys, so wholeheartedly because I'm not going to be using these weapons. You know, everything else, footage from Part 8 and the old file that we were working on, it's fine. I just need to show you what happens in Part 7. Speaking of which, we certainly had a lot of cutscenes, didn't we? So yeah, I'm going to be more careful about that sort of thing. Just make sure I don't get rid of or transfer any data or any episodes that aren't posted, period. Which would be 7 at this rate. So with any tank, just like the Leviathans, we're going to take it out with a vaporizer. This thing packs so much of a punch, it's crazy. So yeah, with the swing shot that last time, I thought it was kind of funny and ridiculous how I just overswung and it threw me over. It's hard to tell with the swing shot whether or not you hold on or don't hold on, and when you let go or don't let go. It just happens. So yeah, just with these guys, what getting through is like, oh, let me go. I just want to get to the end. Because as it is, at the end of this trail, we have another annoying boss fight. A rather interesting one, I'll admit, but it really seems to come out of left field. I mean, there's no inclination of who's meeting you, the boss you're supposed to fight, because we fought him before, but there's no prior sign to it. And it just seems really out of left field, but, you know, I guess we'll go with it, because, you know, one, you kind of have to. Two, it's just, yeah, no, you just kind of have to. I was supposed to say, it comes out of left field, and you'll see for yourself as I just make my way through here. So I'm taking a bit of damage. Go ahead and heal by 4 by getting that nanotech. And you just head over here with the swing shot. The place we want to go is like up there to the left. We have to go around, unfortunately. So we have like another section of those new bots that we have to deal with. Just deploy some turrets to take care of them while I just dodge and get some cover and let them clear out the area for me. Much needed health. Alright, so after these guys, there's only going to be like maybe 2 more of them, and then we can move on to the actual fight. Now what's unfortunate is that the mini nuke doesn't lock on to who I want it to, so the first one misses and I have to kind of like double back. So swing over here, just take care of these 2 guys, and then we'll end up being able to head over to where we need to. I think we need the dynamo for this next part really quick, then the swing shot. Yeah, dynamo, then swing shot. I like the idea of the dynamo and what it does. They kind of combine the swing shot and the dynamo in later titles, which is fine with me. Saves another spot. So as we make our way across here, we get a very interesting cutscene and a rather hilarious character. Oh, the puns. You'll see.
Nobody, I mean nobody, gets by the mathematician.
Guess all the good names were taken.
Watch your mouth, Zero, before the mathematician subtracts your head from your shoulders.
Sir, as a fellow number cruncher, could I please ask what this is all about?
That moon's where we divide losers from winners before adding them to the Megacorp games. There's a challenger up there ready to reduce you to nothing.
This technology looks familiar. Perhaps I could...
Sweet. Think you can get us to that moon?
So yeah, that old technology is back from Ratchet Clank 1. It's what Clank can use to become the destruction bot that he was supposed to be, but ended up being, well, quite small. So using those devices, he can go ahead and do that. But this is what I mean by out of left field. Guess what we're doing?
Hey! Remember us?
Yes, we're fighting the Thug boss in a very... let's just say interesting, and interesting in a bad way manner. We have this sort of like big monster fight scenario going on, which I think is really neat, but the way it goes is just so long. It drags on for a while, and because of those Thug helicopters that are constantly on you, really makes it uneven. I think it would have been better if they designed this to where it's just a full-on fight between you and him. It made it more interesting that way. But now you just have to take care of the stupid Thug helicopters, which is why you'll notice I've sped this up another 1.5 times. Because this does take actually quite a while, and more long than it really needs to be as well. So as you can see with Clank here, you can do this awesome big old jump. We have rockets that we can shoot for a little bit of damage, but really most of the damage is going to come from you doing melee with him, as you see right here. He unfortunately has a quicker push, so you kind of have to anticipate him getting in your range, and then just go ahead and tap square a couple of times, yeah, just like that to try and hit him. the camera is going to be a little bit against you as well, and don't necessarily depend on that arrow above Clank's head. It's pointing generally forward more than anything else. But as you'll see here in one instance especially, when it's pointing in front of me like that, it actually ends up being behind me. Or somewhere else, like to the far right or to the far left. You can actually tell sometimes when you jump up. This one I noticed that, you know, he can't be in front of me. Yeah, see, he's back there. Totally off. This little planet's kind of amusing. I always think of King Kai's planet from Dragon Ball Z. I think of this. And you know, yeah, it looked like it was a really fun mini game, another one, but you know what? Just like the bike race, it's just too offbeat for what it should have been. You know, it's obviously pitted against you, and just making things more unfair or more uneven for the player doesn't necessarily make it a fun challenge. It makes it challenging, of course, because you gotta focus on different things, but it doesn't make it a fun challenge. Like, I don't look forward to these off-game segments, these mini-game segments in Ratchet and Clank. I look forward to, honestly, some of the platforming is really good in the games, but, you know, just fighting with, you know, it's mainly a gun game. It's a third-person shooter game with some platforming in there. I suppose it's up for a little bit of interpretation, but go ahead and add that in the comments as to why you can defend this being a platformer or not defend it being as much of a platformer as it probably should be a gun game. And as we go around here, you have bombs that you can reload on the ground, the missiles that you can get. You want the bombs because he has his own little bomb movement as well. It does a lot of damage. And as it is with the bug copters, you don't need that anymore than you need to. You can break the, yeah, see when the place goes red, that's when he's using it. You can break the surrounding buildings for ammunition and usually health. With the thug helicopters, which you need to be taking care of after a while, you'll slowly see my health, not slowly, but you'll eventually start seeing my health draining so dangerously close. I come really close to death, which isn't at all uncommon because, again, this is the second time I'm doing this. And that happened a couple of times when I was commentating this with Eric. I came this close, like 1 pixel of health away from dying. So you do have to do some crowd control with those thug helicopters. Thankfully, they almost always come with a little bit of health. If you need any more health or anything else like ammo or whatnot, just go ahead and break the buildings. Now, the buildings do not regenerate, so after a while, it's just going to be you, the thug boss, and the helicopters. So whatever ammunition is on there is on there. I'm not entirely sure if the ammunition regenerates after a while, but the buildings, which contain most of the health, don't. So you have to keep that in mind. So the thug boss is almost done here. It's just still, it doesn't feel weird. It feels really weird in the story. Like, there's no rhyme or reason why he should be up here, or why we need to take him on. Well, there sort of is. We need to get to the Megacorp games eventually, but there's just really no connection. Aside from, oh, well, not only do we have to fight this guy to get to the Megacorp games, it happens to be the thug boss. And there he goes. Thank goodness. And just like the hoverbike race, there's another segment of one of those, but it's for something else we don't need, like the charge boots. I'll explain more later when time permits, but right now let's get to another cutscene.
Divide and conquer, huh? Guess you guys were pride.
Oh, these puns.
All. You're going to the Megacorp Games!
They're so bad, they're awesome.
Welcome to Megacorp Games, sponsored by Megacorp. Okay, Megacorp contestants, get ready to grapple with our Megacorp Gladiator team. And if you survive that, enter the Megacorp Battle Arena with our Mega Spider Bot and our Mega Death-defying Mega Cage match. Then open the throttle for the all-Megacorp hoverbike race, brought to you by Team Megacorp Racing. Hostile indigenous population not owned, endorsed, sponsored, supplied, advocated, or even liked by Megacorp. Approach at your own risk. The Megacorp Games. Keep it mega.
Okay, and with that, the mainstay of what we need to take care of for Part 7 is complete. So what we're going to do here as we just wrap up is we're going to head back, and I'm going to go ahead and just let the commentary from Part 8 take over. Now, Part 8 I'm really looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to how you guys receive it. Hopefully well, of course. I've worked on it for quite a while. Actually, if I have been uploading recently, you might notice the date gap between upload Part 7 and Part 6. It's because I've had a lot of projects to take care of. I'm coming in the end of the quarter, and you know how projects can mount. So we're going to go ahead, and next time we're going to, by the time we get to back to our original file, we're just a couple of bolts away from the mini rocket tube, which is our missile launcher for the game. You can see here from these crates, they just conveniently, or not conveniently, they intentionally put it to where there's quite a few bolts that you can achieve in a short amount of time, and that's going to help us with the small amount of bolts that we have left. So that's what we're going to do. If you guys like this part, please do so at the bottom and comment as well. Like I said, love the discussion, appreciate it. That's kind of what this channel is going to be for. So thank you very much for joining me again. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to be notified of any videos that I put up in the future, which is fairly frequent. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys then. Take care.